Hi Stampin' Friends, it's Chris Slogar from BuckeyeInklings.com, and today I want to show you how to make this simple fun fold. I'm calling it a corner flip because this is a regular card base, but I've got the corner flipped in so that when you open it, it has this little pop-up section, which is fun, okay? So you can pop up any number of different greetings there. I've used the From My Heart suite from our mini catalog to make a Valentine. There's so many great things about this suite. My favorite things are, of course, the paper is beautiful, but the paper also has pieces that can be used in coordination with the punch pack to make some extra special punch shapes. Here's another one that can be punched that make your crafting really simple. Of course, there's also a stamp set that goes with it, and this coordinates with the punches. But between the paper and the doilies and the punches, you just have a lot of options with this set. Okay, so let's get started on this fun fold. And the basic pieces are a regular card base. Okay, so 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then the pieces for the front and the inside pieces all start as 4 by 5 1/4 inch pieces of designer paper, and in this case, Whisper White. Okay, so what you need to do is decide on a triangle shape. Now, I cased this idea. I just saw a card with a floral spray done this way, and I don't think it's terribly critical what your dimensions are on the triangle. I've kind of estimated what I liked, and what I found, and I made a pattern for this, is that a 2 3/4 by 3.5 inch triangle was a really nice proportion for my corner flip. Okay, so I actually, and I recommend you make a little pattern. I just made it out of grid paper. Mine is 2 3/4 by 3.5, and then you can use that for cutting these designer paper pieces and the Whisper White, and also for scoring. So let's start with the card base. Okay, you can see from the finished sample that we're going to have that corner flip at the top left here. So I'm just putting my pattern in place, and I like to use my scoring board. I'm just going to line up. I need to score along this line. So I'm going to line up. See, I have this line darkened in at 10 inches, so I can line each edge of the triangle up along that line, and then I know when I connect those ends, I'm on a straight line. Okay, so I've got my triangle piece. I'm going to push pretty hard with my stylus because we've got a double layer of cardstock here, and then bend this kind of back and forth. And then right away, let me put that out of the way, you'll see that that can easily be popped to the inside of the card to make that fold. Okay, and that's all it is. And I'm going to burnish that kind of everywhere I can. And then, as I said, we're going to cut these pieces to fit. All right, so again, I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to take my 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of designer paper, and when I cut away this same triangle, we're going to have a nice piece that mats nicely onto the front of the card. Now, on the inside, the white piece is kind of going the same direction, so we need that cutout at the top left corner. So I'm going to do these both at the same time. I'm going to stack them together, and I know I need to cut that angled corner from the top left. Okay, so I'm going to get my trimmer here, And again, line up my little pattern. I think it's so much easier to have this pattern than to measure each time and connect the lines and cut. Okay, so you can just use this pattern and put that right in the track, that edge line that you want to cut, and there you have the pieces that you need. Now, you do have to be careful when you're cutting the other one that goes on the inside here. That corner is not, you know, you can't use the front of that triangle. You have to flip that, and you're cutting away the bottom left, okay? But it's the same proportion. So I'm just going to put my triangle in place on this piece, line it up, line up that edge in the track, and then cut that away. Okay, and there I have the pieces I need for the inside and the front of the card. Now, as you can see, the piece that's left behind here is actually a little too big. I like to cover these little corner pieces as well. It's a little too big, what's left behind, and the same is true of the white one. Let me grab the white one. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to take these triangle pieces and put them together, and I'm going to line them up on my trimmer and cut off 1/2 inch of the wider side. Okay, and then I will have pieces that fit, and they're the right proportion, they're made at the right angle, and they fit right in here. These pieces are optional. You can leave that without these matte pieces. I just think it looks really cool to have them in place, since they're kind of easy to come by, since we've already made them for the most part. Okay, so all we need to do now is use these pieces to decorate. I've got that piece for the front. Oops, let me grab another. I think that is getting low. I've got the piece for the front here, and I'm going to line that up. And then I've got the inner piece. And the little triangle pieces. And let's take a second after we get the white one down to do our stamping. Okay, so I've already made for the front of the card these 3 hearts. Okay, so this is from the stamp set, Happy Valentine's Day, on a smooth edge heart, and I've backed it on a real red scalloped heart. And then I've got from the designer paper 2 hearts punched and mounted again on scalloped real red pieces. All right, and then for the inside of the card, I'm actually using the designer paper. Like I said, this is one of those patterns that you can punch with the punch pack. So I'm lining up the scalloped heart to get one of those red foil specialty hearts off of the paper. And then I've got a greeting from My Heart to Yours from the set that I'm just going to put in the middle of this heart. And I am going to add to my white piece the scallop doily heart in Flirty Flamingo, and then just this little heart in real red down the edge here. Okay, just to decorate the inside there. And now we can put this together. So see, I've got the designer paper heart mounted on one of these doilies. The doilies come in Flirty Flamingo and Real Red. And I've been making a lot of projects with this suite on my website if you want to check out buckeyeinklings.com. I'm going to mount that heart so it flips. So I just have adhesive where it's going to be in the white triangle. And I'm going to mount it like here so it will flip when we open. So the only thing you really have to be careful of is to make sure the doily doesn't exceed the bottom edge of the card when you do that. Okay, and then I'm also going to put this piece on the inside, the white piece that we've created. All right, and that's the inside is done. So on the outside now, I'm going to mount these other hearts, as I mentioned, that I made. Now, what you want to do, if you want to make sure that this will fit in an envelope, of course, the outer dimensions are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You want to make sure to mount these hearts so that they stay within the limits. I'm using my grid paper here and looking at this imaginary line of what will fit in an envelope. So I'm going to mount these hearts like side by side here so that they stay within those lines. Obviously, if they pop out too much, you won't be able to put this in an envelope. So I'm just adding adhesive on the bottom of each of these hearts, okay, and the part of the heart that will overlap the front of the card. And as I said, each of these I'm just putting within the limits of the envelope shape. Okay, so I'm putting them kind of side by side here. And then I'm going to pop up my Happy Valentine's Day. And here's the finished one to see again. And this one I can put up, a little bit higher because it can reach into that area where it will still fit in the envelope. Just watch that, but only put the dimensional at the bottom tip of the heart where it will connect to this card front. Okay, so all of this is going to be exposed here, so you can't have adhesive obviously on the backs there. All right, and then the last thing I did to decorate the front, I just took some of that double stitch satin ribbon that's also a part of this suite and made a simple bow. And I'm going to put it in place with a glue dot. All right, so that's simple. And again, think of what patterns and themes you'd like to go with for this, because there are a lot of great ideas. You could do any of the designer papers, like with birthday themes or, thinking of you or anything really. But very simple little pop-up card. Okay, thanks so much for your attention, and please visit me at buckeyeinklings.com. If you like any of the products that you see here, there's a Shop Now button on my website. So thanks so much for your support.